keep on the grind. 27/9, not to 24/7, not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief, nobody, me mother say feel no crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make if you just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.
Alright viewers, we're back for a brand new episode of Unfinished Business. I know I'm kind of tired of seeing my face, right? Today on a Friday, then on Farmville. But you know, big up to Rico and Shea, they couldn't make it for this week's episode. No large up to the crowd. But hey, Farmville Friday, not today. Today is Unfinished Business and I'm with a very special guest. Everything Y'all Like Media, he controls. He's actually in charge of Y'all Like Media. And my boy Bapplay, aka Mr. Marcel Palma. I don't want to big up the man for no. I want to make him actually big up himself. So, Mr. Bap, like we would say.
Yeah.
You know, I know you right now. You're a teacher at Toledo Community College. You know, I know you've been there for a while now, a minute now.
Yeah.
I would say that. And how I originally meet Bap, that through his brother. Hammer Hinge, big up Ray Palma. Yes, because they always used to coach us when we were kids playing volleyball and through high school. You know what? Introduce yourself to Unfinished Business, yes, man.
Alright, so for the people who don't know me, again, Marcel Palma, go by the name by aka bapplay, right? Actually, I have registered my studio now.
Alright.
Bapplay Studio, located in the Indianville area. But I'm a teacher by heart. I teach information technology. Technologist, meaning I do everything in terms of technology, and Jalil is right by saying that I do the like media work. So it's kind of different being in front of the camera now as opposed to always being behind the scenes for Unfinished Business, right?
Yeah, always the person behind the scenes directing the show, and you know.
But try to do a little bit of everything. I have more than 14 years in terms of teaching and education in that field, and I do a lot of field work in terms of networking and PC repair, the website stuff, and everything technology. I say in Belize you have to be a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
When it comes to technology, it is the same thing, right? And of course, we always want to be current when it comes to what we're dealing with. But excited to get a chance to work with the guys from Yard Light, you know, being the media person all the time. Gives me a lot of work, gives me a chance to reach out to PG and have you guys showcase what Yard Light is doing, which is essentially what we want. Right, and of course I do a lot of work in the community, working with some musicians. I have my own YouTube channel and Marcel Palma, right, and it's just a way of leaving a little bit of history behind for our community, right. And of course I dabble in a little bit of everything because I do woodworking, I do a little bit of farming, I do a little bit of the masonry, right. I used to be a welder,
so jack of all trades,
so the list goes on, right, which is kind of what I want to push for the young people. I want people to know that you don't have to stick to only one thing for survival. We have a little bit of everything in us when it comes to our skill sets, but you need to find out what it is so that you can capitalize on it, right?
Yes, definitely.
But excited to be here and Unfinished Business. I still wish the two guys would be here.
Yeah, man.
But again,
unfortunately, right? Yes.
But Unfinished Business. We carry on, you know.
So, reason why we wanted to have Mr. Marcel Bap as a special guest is because of, like you said, jack of all trades. He does a lot of stuff, and especially when it comes to the information technology area, because that's where the world is actually heading. No, let's just be honest. Virtual, everything now is going virtual. You know, now first you had to maybe write a letter to your girlfriend back then. Now you're quoting that online, everything virtually.
Send my emoji, no?
Yeah. You know the saying, there's always an app for everything.
Yeah.
But what I want to actually go into is what made you decide to actually go into information technology?
Yeah, well, a huge part of that has to do more with the history, and I'll say I stumbled upon information technology. My sixth form days, I was a graduate from BCA, at that time Belize College of Agriculture, for people who don't know.
What? The man agriculture skills?
So it was an agricultural school, and we went there for 2 years. My specialty there was piggery and a little bit of fruit trees production. But when I came back out from that school, I went to work at a shrimp farm.
Okay.
And at the shrimp farm, I started out doing water quality testing. Okay. And so we were already playing around with some of the gadgets in terms of water quality testing. and stayed a year there and came to Punta Gorda Town to work for an environmental project, ESTA.
Okay.
It was during that time I think that I kind of fell for the technology part because I was doing environmental assessment for Toledo district and part of the Stan Creek district. But also I got a chance to work with the guys from the land unit.
Okay.
And they were doing GIS work. And so I all my free time I spent in the land unit working with those guys in GIS, learning how to manipulate maps and updating all of that data and so forth, creating some database, and also that took me into the time when my sister decided that it was time for her to go to Palma to pursue her studies. And weird story, she applied for information technology, but she also filled out an application for me.
Okay, you didn't even know.
I didn't know.
So behind your back,
Right?
Wilson, Colin.
So I got accepted to UB in the information technology course at that time. And me and my sister went and we spent 4 years in Belmopan. And from there, it's just hooked on to it. It was something I loved from the beginning, and so it just came to me naturally. I worked while going to school. I worked at several small companies in Belmopan. Omar Gale, I saw him over the weekend. You know what? I used to work for Omar Gale. He has a startup company that he was working on, and he's still pushing that company now, which is good to see that it was something that we started at the time and that is still going on, right? Then that took me into the teaching career. Even before that, I worked at a PC repair place in Belmopan and Belize City called H2 Tech. Then I went to San Pedro as a teacher in information technology. And I taught some business subject also, and physical education, because then time I'm in a shape thing. But that propelled me even further because in San Pedro I opened a business called Extreme Geeks. And up to today that business is still running. I started that business with a student, and this goes to show that the young people coming out of high school, they can create a business for themselves. So it's not that you have to have a high level education or anything. You just have to have the want and the need. In terms of San Pedro, the need was there for information technology at the time to propel us then to a new level, right? So that is where we are now in terms of I coming home back and looking at new passions. My passion is videography and photography, right? It's something I love. But it's just because I enjoy learning. That's it. I just enjoy learning.
And like Mr. Marcel said in bapplay, he started with agriculture, and then eventually, by mistake I could say, because the sister got behind the back and actually put in an application for you.
Yep.
But one thing you could say, it's never too late to actually try something.
Try something new.
Try something new. And one thing that I like that you actually said, especially for the youths and the younger generation, is that you don't believe that you have to have that high level of education.
No, you don't
or
have to.
something
Yeah, that is true.
in order to actually go in business or learning in business. Like for example, you started with a student, which meant that you were the mentor at that point.
At that time,
and the student was actually learning, and that was years ago, when Columbus still made a sail ship. but the thing is, it's still up and running, which shows that through mentorship and stuff like this, things can happen. And one of my main things is that I look at it because you basically have the best of both worlds, I would say. Best of both worlds meaning that you're seeing things from both in the classroom as a teacher and actually as a mentor and an entrepreneur in your own lane as well. So my question to you when it comes to this that I'm speaking on is, what do you think is actually the missing piece when it comes to students nowadays leaving high school, then actually maybe going to college or somewhere, or when they finish college or when they finish high school, they're lost. Like they're like, okay, I don't know what to do, or it's a toss up for them.
Yeah, and it happens for everybody. There's that stage in your life where you don't know what will happen next or what you really. And I kudos to those people who find it early, because I wish that I had found information technology a little bit earlier, right? So the advice, and I keep saying this for the younger people, the advice is try, and I say try different things so you can figure out what you love.
Yes.
Because don't do something because somebody else loves it. That's not yours, right? And you'll know when it hit home. If you like carpentry, you'll know when it hit home. If you go work and you help out a body or something, you build a house, but you're not comfortable with it, that's not something you like though, then don't do it. You'll get hurt. Most of the time you'll get hurt because it's not the passion, right? But you need to make sure that you're trying different things so that you find out what you're comfortable with, and that's the key thing. Majority of the time right now what happens to young people is that they sit at home or they come out of the classroom and expect to go and work for somebody.
Yeah.
Instead of searching for something that they can do, whether it's sewing baskets, sewing a piece of clothes, right? Making ideal, something is there that you can do better than anybody else, and you need to find that. Now, how you find that, that's a difficult question to answer, but the key there is just to try different things, right?
And it's good that you say that because from experience, that's what actually happened to me as well. You know, started in one area, one field, and then end up in a different area.
You find
like
out,
exactly like I started. I went to high school, science department. Did my bachelor's in biology, and today I major in agriculture.
Right? But weird how life carries you somewhere else.
Yes.
Right? And so you notice one of my slogans that I have on my shirt too is geek yourself. And geek yourself means do something that keeps your mind occupied, and I think that's the main thing. So whether you're cooking, geek yourself cooking, right? If you're running, geek yourself running. You're doing something, right? But you're trying to be better at it, and so you find out that, especially for me, I will try to learn a little bit of everything. So I dedicate 15 minutes. Right now I'm doing game production, and so I give myself 15 minutes every day towards game production. Sometimes I just shut down, and I can't do it, but next day I go back at it again, right? So that's the key, that you always want to learn something new, and it helps you. I mentioned this to some people already. I always want to be that person who is self-reliant, and so I don't have to be running to the hospital if I have a flu. I know how to deal with a flu already. Right? I don't have to run to the hospital if I have a cut on my feet. I know how to deal with that already, right? So it's not everything that you'll find out that I go to somebody who specializes in a particular field for that. So even changing a brake pad on my truck, I would do that on my own, right?
YouTube
show you everything. And so, but you have to be willing to learn, and that's the key. And I think a lot of people are not willing to take that extra step to learn something new, right? So
and hey, you know what? Like I said, my boy bapplay with but we know we have to go to commercial break as usual, right? So we'll definitely wait before we go. Not try to change nothing yet. Stay on right there, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hi guys, so our brand is Caitlyn's Puppies, and we sell pit bull puppies, and this is one of our pure breed pit bulls. It was born on November 13th. She's a female. We also have male puppies. Her name is Dior. This is for our customer. The puppies, they come with their dog collars. They come with a small bag of chow, a small bag of milk, and also their first worm out. The dogs, they will need their shot, but we can give them their shot for you if you request. We have special packages that come with the dog houses, the big bags of chow, and you can just message us and find us on Facebook, Caitlyn's Puppies, or Instagram, and we answer all of your questions.
Alright, so on Instagram it's what?
Caitlyn's Puppies.
Alright, what type of dog? You gave that already, or I missed that?
Yeah, these are pure breed pit bulls. We have, we'll be having red nose pit bulls and blue pits coming soon, but for right now we just have the regular.
Viewers of Unfinished Business, thanks to stay with. I know commercial break with the thing, but we're back with our guy bapplay, Mr. Marcel Palma. But before we even continue, bapplay. I never know your name when we people about me. I just always know you as bapplay. Where everything come from?
I won't go into where the nickname came from, but I'll tell you that some names will stick on you. And so the bapplay came when I went to Sixth Farm, before that, for people who know me from high school days, they used to call me baby because I used to smile, right? Which is why I find it kind of funny now looking at all the small first farmers, and I remember my days in first farm and how small I was, right? And now look for this big man here. So things change, things do change, right? But the name bapplay kind of sticked in there, and I look at it, somebody said, "Oh, bapplay sounds weird, right?" And then I told them, I said, "But Google sounds weird too."
Yeah, but it's original. Bapplay
right?
is original.
Well, we
Yes.
like Google.
Yes.
So you learn to love bapplay too. It's a playground. No? It's definitely a playground for everything technology, right?
Okay.
So
okay.
bapplay geek yourself, and it's bapplay studio in Punta Gorda town, right? So
Yeah.
can't go wrong.
Exactly. And like I said, BAP help everything, yeah, like when it comes to media, our shows, everything we run for the shows, the person behind camera, even advisor, very, very, genuine at heart, I could definitely say. And to come to that, meaning that a lot of the plans that, yeah, like have, BAP involved in. And one of my things that I actually want to ask you as well, especially when it comes to our youth population of today, like a lot of youths, honestly, they just don't know what to do. Even if maybe they graduate high school, they drop out of high school, then even gone to high school. I always push out there, meaning that, hey, when it comes to find a skill, find a trade, find something, like you were saying in the first segment, what would you say when it comes to our youth population? What would you say that, you know what, this is something that you think that, should be implemented, or this is something that you think that our youths would need, or this is something that us as a movement would need to actually move forward with?
Yeah. One of the key things when it comes to youth development, and I've said this in various forums, is the need for mentorship. But careful about mentorship, because mentorship comes with a want for the person being mentored to want to be mentored, right? And so you can't sit there lazy and think, oh, because Jalil they talk to me, I will improve. No, the improvement needs to come from you, right? One of the key things I see missing for young people, especially in our community, is that want to volunteer. You talk to a young boy today, he have to get paid for something, even if he just a land. If I tell a young boy right now, man, I want to help me nail up a piece of wood. Question: how much you have pay me? My question for him should be, you can nail a piece of wood, right?
Yeah.
So before you even ask for a payment in anything, and this is my advice, I guess, to them, volunteer so that you can improve your skills. So if it was not a skill that you had, it's something that you'll gain, right? And then your next job or the next place you go to from there, then you could charge for that particular skill, right? But volunteer, that is key, and make sure that you stay busy. What happens with a lot of young people is that, and for everybody, an idle mind is really and truly the devil's workshop, right? It used to happen to me. I used to sit down and like, man, this not happened today. What I do? And then I get carried away and I go do something out of the way. Nowadays, and I think it come with age, right? The whole I get that like, yo, the amount of work I have to do. I actually have to try finally idle time now for fit into it, just so that I give my mind comfort, right? A lot of people, when they hear that, all right, you're an IT specialist, they think about you behind that machine 24/7. That is one thing that I try to change for myself, and I kind of lean towards telling some of the other IT guys this now, that not because you're an IT man means you have to be behind that machine 24/7. You could go outside and do the farming, you could do the exercise the evening, right? You could do both. You could still have a certain level of socialization with you, with everybody around you, because normally IT guys are antisocial. You'll find out now that a lot of young people are becoming antisocial because of that machinery or this phone that they have constantly behind, and they are constantly behind that. Some of them even sleep with the phone side of there, right? And so it means that they're in contact or in communication 24/7, which shouldn't be the case. You have to have that, I want to let go this for a little while and do something else, right? But definitely in order for young people in our community in particular to find themselves, it means that you have to volunteer. You have to go out and try new things. Go to the town council, volunteer some services in getting some of the works done in town. Not everything have to be a form of payment, and I think that is what kills us. That I do something, I expect some money.
When I get paid.
Okay? No,
What are the costs?
I do something, I expect that I'm leveling up, right? I hear Ali Mario song, you level up, right? and that feels good. That feels rewarding when you level up and you land on the new. Like, man, I don't know what it's. I know it now. So the next person I talk to, I can say, yeah, I had that experience already, or I may talk to somebody who did that already, and so this is how you work, right? without being too cocky about it. Because sometimes we get carried away with that, right? But reality is that we have a lot of young people with mad skill set that is placed. And I know that because I've seen it. In fact, a lot of things that I have learned have been from indirectly from people who don't even know that I'm sponging off them.
Yeah.
Right? So I call it sponge.
That's
Because
soaking up the gear.
you direct the talk and I direct the land, you know.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a key. And so that's what young people have to start though, in order for them to move forward. Because at the end of the day, Belize, Toledo, PG, and even most parts of the world now, we need new leadership in order to propel us into a new era. Otherwise, you find out that we were left with old leadership, and so we're left with old directions, right? And they're the way the young people step up. But you have to willing to step up. You have to got a bravery to say, man, I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this. Right? But it comes with a certain level of confidence, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But definitely step out of your shell, try something new, right? That's definitely the message for me to them.
Right, check
Yeah.
out. Alright, that's it. And now, when it comes to bapplay studio, what's next for bapplay studio?
But Play Studio have a big future ahead, and you know,
Yeah.
the movement with Yard Light definitely is key. And simply because I know Yard Light will be touching a lot more people, right? Than just and I think we have to learn how to network. Because while yes, I have people that I communicate with and people who I mentor, joining up with or teaming up with another organization means now that I'm probably getting double my numbers, right?
Audience and stuff. Yeah.
And so and that is key. So Bapplay Studio, we continue the videography work. PG have seen me do a couple music videos for some of the guys. I keep on practicing. I look back at the video with from Mara G, Last I Love One, and that was my first music video.
Big up Mara G, big up yourself.
With the first camera I had, which was the same Nikon that we're recording on right now. And I did that video and I thought like, yo, this is the thing, you know. I love the video. Now the video fits the song. But when I did my second video and I look back at the first, I said, I can do something different. I can do it better. Right? But it just means that we're progressing or we're continuously improving in what we do, which is what we want, right? So definitely moving deeply into the videography now. Skill set to get better. I use Premiere Pro, I use other programs to just make things nicer, right? And you guys can tell from the quality of image that you're getting right now.
Yep.
Right? That things good about Play Studio. Right? The photography, jumping into the photography now too. Again, Belize PG have a lot of photographers, right? And I read a lot of comments on Facebook and people are like, oh, I hope you use this f-stop, I hope you use that, I hope you use that. Man, I'll be honest with you now, photography is an art, and this is just my point of view, photographers. Photography is an art form. Art for different people means different things, right? So some people might like my pictures, some people might hate my pictures, right? But don't stick to some of the rules. I understand some of the photography rules, and some people they cringe right now home, right? Don't stick to some of those photography rules and say, I have to follow that if I want to be a photographer. No, it's an art form. But you gotta try it, and most of your phones bring a camera now. Anybody could be a photographer. And the software automatically fixes up the picture and everybody look nice. Right? But definitely we're pushing out shows. I did a series of different shows on my platform and the YouTube channel, and I'm asking young people to start documenting what you're doing. It makes sense because now, when I look back at my grandfather, I'll go as close as my mother and my father, right? I look back at some of the documentation that we have in terms of their lifespan. It is limited, right? So I have a couple pictures when I was young, but not as much. So my son and my daughter and my next son, they got a lot of picture right now. They got a whole history, which is good. We want that history is left behind because you find out that we learn from history, right? So I encourage young people to go there, document stuff, get your camera, get your YouTube channel going, and hit the subscribe button, blah blah, right? I saw two young people on Facebook today practicing on their mom's phone, and they got a future, they got nice, voice going. So definitely use the tools that are available to you, and Bapplay Studio to get that done too. So the videography, the photography, we're definitely launching along with your light the web hosting. Nobody in Punta Gorda town does web hosting. So we'll be doing the web hosting side where you guys can get a site made from content management system. You can get a site up in 1 week, right? But that's for the people who want website. Ideally, we would want that every business in town have a website, especially now in this era that we're living.
Yeah.
So if I want something, imagine Tail Store.
Mm-hmm.
I want to buy something from Tail Store. I could just go and visit their site. They have everything updated.
Yeah.
I could click, bam, bam, bam. They deliver it to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, life
times
made
that we're
easy.
in, the time, yeah,
We
the
need to
times that
change.
we're in,
And
yeah.
that's what I think that the pandemic did for us. It forced us to change. So even the school system now, is changing. But for bapplay student, I mean, the sky is the limit right
Yeah.
now. And I'm just continuously building and building and building, and we never know what will happen, the shows continue. Like they expand too. And so it keeps me busy too,
Yep,
right,
yep,
doing
yep,
the show.
yep,
So unfinished business for real.
Yeah, a lot of it. And quick story, when I remember we were just about to start unfinished business, and I was a little hesitant to get things out early. And back player like, man, where the waste? You don't hold on too long to content. Get it out, start document, get it out. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. He said, now we're in season 2. He definitely know. He may know exactly what the man made tell.
Yeah.
But hey, as always, we're always here. Yeah, like look out for a lot of the programs that are coming out because like I said, bapplay have to do a lot with it. And you see how right now we're the ones in front of the camera. Well, he's usually behind the camera. We'll look out in the future whereby we're actually are going to start programs whereby folks, youths especially, we want them to actually learn how to work behind the camera.
Yeah.
So by them learning to work behind the camera, they know exactly, with this, maybe this could take me somewhere else, or it's just for mentorship purposes whereby, hey, if you have interest in learning, maybe like, okay, how to do editing, how to stuff like this, you could always hit us up. You could hit, me up at Yard Light, you could hit back up at Bapplay. We're always open to actually helping when it comes to our youths learning some kind of new skill, But hey, as usual, everything has to come to an end. And it was definitely nice speaking to you as well, my brother.
Definitely, sure.
Rico, she did. Large up yourself again.
Big up on yourself, man.
Yes, And look out for another episode of Unfinished Business with your host tonight, special host, Jalilina, as I sit with my guy, Bapplay.
Yeah.
You know what? We're out, guys.
On the grind, 27/9, not 24/7, that are not enough time. Put in overtime, me I forget mine. Never thief, nobody, me mother say feel low crime. Cause life is hard, have to work hard. The money now make if you just sit down in a yard and I cry time hard. Have to grind hard, jump in our studio, I rhyme hard.